Indeed. And I mean, NIP against GAMERS2, both lineups have had a couple of little changes recently. Of course, Rydell coming in for GAMERS2 in the support role, taking over from Dude. And over on Ninjas in Pyjamas, Cabochard has taken over from Alex Each, who went to mid lane. Yes, indeed.
And the Power of Evil was in the mid lane. Then it was Exile. Well, Exile was there before, and then Power of Evil came in as a sub, and Power of Evil went over to Ninjas and not Unicorns of Love, who we just saw. So lots of swap ups.
Yeah, lots of changes.
Yeah, but Alex Each back in the mid lane.
Yeah, it seems to have maybe fallen a little bit in NIP's way of the maybe favourable, but we'll have to see. We are heading in to the picks and bans.
So what do these teams have to offer? So first ban out will be Braum from GAMERS2. So that will be their priority ban. I'm waiting to see what Ninjas in Pyjamas bring out as their first ban.
Yeah, Braum always tends to get a ban. It's not a champion we see all that often. Of course, once you stack up his passive, just too strong on the target. Get that lockdown very early on. And NIP are having a long conversation about this ban.
They are, and it will eventually be Morgana. Braum, of course, you see a lot of Lucian alongside that before the Lucian changes, so we'll see if that has changed much. But well, we won't see if that's changed much because we won't see him in this game. Morgana has been banned out by Ninjas in Pyjamas, and then Gragas as a second ban from GAMERS2.
Yeah, and the fact that they're banning away from Rydell is kind of interesting because obviously he's a newer member to the team. So they obviously feel like his Morgana is something that they really don't want to play against. And it makes a lot of sense because Freeze and Voidal like to play a lot of kind of snowballing champions in that bottom lane.
Yeah.
Once they get a kill. I say snowballing, it's not... Actually, that's completely wrong. They like to play champions that focus on the late game, but they get the kills in the lane, so they snowball. Is how they.
I know
like
what
to
you
play
mean,
that.
Stress. Don't worry about it.
It's okay because I don't.
Let me explain to you. No, Lucian and Orianna as the next two ban outs from these two teams. So Lucian by Ninjas in Pyjamas and Orianna from GAMERS2. Orianna is not really a ban that you actually see very often. It's a champion you see picked a lot, shows a face in many games, but not usually banned out. And then, of course, well, last ban out from the purple side will be Kasten. And first pick instantly will be Rengar from GAMERS2.
And then answered as well. And with Lee Sin still available, this could be top lane. Oh, Koo. Oh, Koo.
Ooh.
Is this real?
Is this real? Oh, no, it's not real.
No, okay.
Okay.
So... we'll talk a little bit about Lucian. I feel is going to be banned away because Freeze likes to play Cogmore right now in the current meta. That's just the champion he's been picking again and again. Obviously, he's competent on all of the current AD carries, but typically that has been his pick that he really likes to take first. So not too surprising. Wow, okay, Ari is a first pick into the mid lane, and now we've seen that on Selfie. From Super Hot Crew has played Ari in 2 games. One was okay, the other was pretty dominant. Yeah, I think is fair to say. So Ari had a couple of changes in the recent patch. Mana reduction on, I think it was AP scaling on a Q and mana reduction as well.
Yeah, basically just over deception. That were the big changes. And as you mentioned, Selfie played that in 2 games. He actually went OP in the LCS and got MVP for his Ari play. Xpeke also brought out the Ari, so she's been seeing a lot of play in the LCS. And that, of course, will move to Challenger as well. So we're going to be seeing that from Ninjas in Pyjamas. And Maokai also locked in, so that's also a nice talking point. Don't know if that's going to be in top lane or it's going to be in the jungle. We've seen it both in the LCS and Challenger. So I'd like to see if Cabochard picked it up, because that's the pick that did really well against him from Fiziksachi. So he's like, actually, this pick's really good. I think I'll add that to my playbook.
Ooh, okay. And with... the current picks, I kind of expect that to be top lane rather than jungle. It's still an option for both, though.
Absolutely. So next 2 pickups was Nidalee and Fresh coming out from GAMERS2. Nidalee has seen some play in the top lane. Fresh has always seen play in the support role.
Yeah, Nidalee is a champion that fits JWoww's playstyle. Very aggressive, damage, is able to split push. JWoww can just like hold his own, which is completely fine for JWoww. He will be confident to 1v1 all day long. And that, that's what we've grown to just know from JWoww. Not to say that it couldn't be middle lane, but we haven't seen it really as much. If I'm stretching my mind back, I think 1 or 2 games perhaps.
Very few times, if at all. So, that would be a reasonable guess. Okay, so the hover over Lee Sin. And that's, Koo's, I think, fair to say, one of his best, if not his best champion in the jungle. And that's been left open. It wasn't a priority for them. but they will be taking it away, knowing that Rengar was actually first pick, so they didn't need to, prioritize that for a little while. And then the Tristana will be the AD carry for Ninjas in Pyjamas. I'm tentative to say that, though, because we've seen the mid.
Yeah, we have, but with Ahri locked in, with Maokai locked in, I feel like I was going to say Quinn. No, not
that's unlikely.
Quinn.
Yeah.
Tristana fulfills a similar role to Kog'Maw, that later game champion that they like to play for, and it answers our question. Cabochard is going to be on Maokai in that top lane, unless they're running some kind of cheesy Maokai support, which wouldn't be the first time we've seen it, but would be the first time I've seen it on current Maokai.
Yeah, absolutely. So GAMERS2 waiting for the last two pickups from their team. Hovering over the Corki currently, which has seen a couple plays in recent days, and Twisted Fate as well. It just depends on the team, honestly. Like sometimes we'll see someone who just picks the Twisted Fate. They'll have that as a first pick, and they'll base their composition around having the Twisted Fate there, and sometimes we'll just not see that at all. And that's going to be one of those games with Fizz locked in instead.
We're back to Assassin meta.
We are indeed. Ahri and Fizz in the mid lane, and then the last pickup of Leona insta-locked from NIP, and that'll be staying on Voidal.
So Corki does very well against Tristana. The only problem Corki has sometimes is if you get locked down in the middle of Valkyrie, unlike Rocket Jump, it's not continuous. You kind of just stop, and that's the end of your engage. So Leona is a pretty decent pick into Corki there. And, Corki's damage against Tristana in the early game is something you've got to watch out for. Phosphorus Bomb does a lot of damage if you get tagged by it. And, of course, Tristana has to move fairly close to auto-attack in the early game. So that's something to watch out for, is the early game punish out of Yuki and a Rydal. And this is the first time I've actually had Rydal and Voidal in the same game.
Rydal and Voidal, that's going to be a tongue twister.
I've been, ever since Rydal was announced, I've been thinking that sounds an awful lot like Voidal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to get that mixed up. Hopefully I won't, because it's like Rydal.
Voidal.
Yeah, completely different.
2 syllables
They're
as well.
completely different beginnings of the word, so thankfully it's just like a rhyming couplet rather than, some of the names that we have that are just close.
Okay, so enough about the names. What are we looking for composition? So we've talked about the mid laners with the Assassin meta now apparently coming back into the mix. Got the Corki coming out, got the Tristana, which we touched on, but the Nidalee in the top lane from JWoww really fits the bill, honestly, with JWoww. He likes his damage top laners. He doesn't like to sit back, farm all day. He's often the very aggressive top laner. Even when tanky top laners were the main thing to go to, he often picked up the Yasuo in the top lane, always went for those damage top lanes. So Nidalee definitely his type of champion.
So one of the problems here that GAMERS2 may have as the game goes later and later is Morden is going to need to build somewhat tanky, which is going to take away from some of Rengar's damage. We've seen the tankier Rengar plays. It's fine. You still are good at picking, good at dealing damage as Rengar, but because they have no real tank, Cabochard is probably going to do so much peel in the late game, and there's not going to be too much peel on the side of GAMERS2 when you look at it. They're just looking for all-out damage. It's down to Rydal to chunk a lot of to soak a lot of the damage and to do a lot of the peel. So watch for that in the late game. That's where Maokai becomes a bit of a monster. You have the twisting advance. You have the slow from the saplings. You get the damage reduction from the ultimate. He's so good at keeping a champion like Tristana alive that I feel GAMERS2 in the late game may struggle slightly if they're not taking kind of the split push engagements that JWoww will always love to take.
Yeah, and GAMERS2, if they want someone to die, they're probably going to die. You've got a Fizz on you, you've got the Rengar coming out of nowhere. We saw that last game, in fact, where Rengar just appeared, and there's the Shockwave on top of him with the ball from Orianna, and then it was the Wild Growth, and it's just like, you can't get away from it. This time, there's nothing to chain on top of it, but there is the Fizz to come in from a different angle, which will be very difficult to deal with.
Yeah, and Fizz is such a good champion against Ahri as well, because you can just play full tricks to the charm, and that's one of the problems that Ahri has, especially after the rework, is Ahri's charm now gives the damage amplification at a greater point than it used to.
Yep.
So that's what kind of happened. They took damage off the Orb of Deception initially. They've put a little bit of it back on. So she's a little bit better without the charm landing, but it's very minimal. It's mostly for wave clear to get her to the point where she has an item like a DFG where she can Spirit Rush in, burst you down with a charm after the DFG, and pretty much 100 to 0 you. But it's not the biggest AP ratio change, so that she's back to her, initial, I'll just kill you with a Q kind of range.
Back when it was like Deathfire Grass, E, dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the rest of the combo will land. Also got Q on his champion Lee Sin. So we saw those amazing plays earlier by Zayu. I think Ku will probably be like, well, I'm also very good with Lee Sin, and I'll show you how it's done. So hopefully we see some plays coming out from him this game. We've seen multiple games, in fact, just carried by the jungle role, getting those ganks in the early game, just snowballing from there.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of feel like every time we go into a game, we always say Ku's Lee Sin, and then it just is Ku's Lee Sin.
Yeah.
It's what it is.
Yeah, you don't need to expand upon it. It's Ku's Lee Sin, as
For
you
anybody
mentioned.
that hasn't seen Ku play Lee Sin, he's very good at the champion.
Yeah. And you'll be seeing that shortly, and before he just like flops.
It wouldn't be the first time.
No, actually, indeed. He plays every jungle like Lee Sin, actually. We've seen some Evelyn plays as well.
What icon is that? Is that the new mecha icon?
It is. It is indeed. Purchased with RP.
That plug.
And right now, from the store, you can get the new mecha icon.
I saw the tweets go out that the skins were live, and I was like, yep, insta-buy. And insta-pause.
Indeed.
It's a GAMERS2 game.
Oh,
so we have to have 2 disconnects. Ooh,
3 disconnects. It's pushing the boundaries of
man. Always get
League of Legends.
Two disconnects at least in a GAMERS2 game.
Disconnect 2. It's in the name. It's disconnect free. Game is free. I don't even know where I'm going with that one.
Yeah, I instantly bought those mecha skins though.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what anyone says with that. You know how everybody talks about the textures?
Yeah.
I actually like the textures as if they're like... A lot of people have been like comparing them to toys.
Yeah, something you would buy for your 5-year-old, yeah.
I like that though.
Yeah?
I think it's like a pretty cool set of textures.
Have you seen those weird interactions with the new Aatrox skin on Reddit? I actually sent you the link to that. It's amazing. If you haven't checked it out, it's on YouTube, and I think the front page of Reddit right now. You can submarine as Aatrox. You can come out of nowhere. Actually, it's just like the head of Aatrox, like bops along the ground, and you just like appear
like
and
that Evelyn Shen combo, which
we may
come back. I wonder. I hadn't thought about that in a while.
Yeah. So Shen is now available in competitive play again. In Challenger, actually, he's always been available. Like there's no banned champions really in Challenger.
I think a lot of the Challenger teams, because they scrim a lot of the LCS teams, kind of stray away from practicing champions that are banned, just because you don't know whether they're going to be banned in a tournament, you don't know the rule sets that you're playing under, you don't want to practice a champion that isn't going to be available.
Especially if you create a strategy around it. It's like, oh, we can't play this champion. That's one strategy out of the playbook, and now we're restricted. So, now with Shen being re-enabled in competitive play, with Evan also being an extremely strong jungler at the moment, it's something that we can see. That was back in the day when Evelyn's the Shadow Walk was actually an ability rather than a passive, and Twitch now is seeing less use. So it's possible, but we've seen a lot of it. Yeah, it was a good combination.
It did have a brief
resurgence.
Yeah.
It did, yeah. Go in with the Aghanim Embrace, so you've got that shield, and then you have the Shen shield as well.
This has nothing to do with this game.
No, it doesn't. But it's a strategy that these guys could pull out now.
Yeah, indeed.
And talking about like new picks and new strategies, like the Assassins now coming back into the mid lane, the Maokai in the top lane. The world is changing. It's a new dawn, Stress.
There we go. It's we are just having a couple of reconnects, disconnects. So hopefully it'll all be sorted out fairly quickly. Hopefully we won't have to be subjected to Pulse's Reddit-based content puns.
It wasn't even Reddit-based, man.
Well,
it was cinematic-based.
I know, but
So, these two guys, Ninjas in Pyjamas, they lost their game against Unicorns of Love, who are now eliminated. They'll be facing Reason Gaming if they progress out of this game into the finals, actually, the grand finals later today. This is a best of 3. This is the first game, in fact. And as you can see in the groups, it was H2K, Alternate Unicorns of Love, and Ninjas in Pyjamas in Group B. Ninjas in Pyjamas and Unicorns of Love made it out. H2K, funny enough, as one of the strongest Challenger teams, of course, they won back in the original Challenger series that we saw, and actually didn't even get out of groups in the FACEIT Challenger Invitational. So, food for thought. But we are into game. Ninjas in Pyjamas on the red side. Got G2, that's GAMERS2. On the blue side, of course, Ocelot, a household name when it comes to League of Legends. But we'll see what they can do in this game. So JWoww heading up to the top side of the map. Everyone's fanning out, so there's no immediate aggression, but anything could happen, especially with Rydal on the fresh. You could see a pick happening at any stage in the next couple seconds.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of names in this. Well, a lot of names actually that are just household names.
Yeah.
Alex as well. I mean, Morden, you know, he used to play on the Spanish lineup with Samex.
Absolutely. Giants,
yeah.
Ozone Giants.
Indeed. Yeah, lots of names that people will be familiar with from both of these teams.
Freeze as well.
Yeah, we could keep on naming.
Yeah. Just name all the players.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for anybody that watches Challenger, you're well aware of who these teams play.
Oh, yeah. This is a star-studded lineup for sure. Ninjas in Pyjamas put down the early wards, as do GAMERS2 for that early knowledge. J-Wiles goes into the top tri-bush. So Cabachard and Voidor will be moving through the jungle together, making sure that they're just secure in that. I heard an ooh from you.
It was an ooh, yeah, because look at the positioning of Voidal and Freeze. They're on the top side of the map.
They are.
Looks like for the first time in quite a while, we're actually going to see a lane swap. Now remember, turrets do increase damage in as they stack, so it's now 2 tower shots to ramp to max damage, not 3. So it's harder to dive 2v1, but they're setting up for somewhat of an on-time invade, I guess. Somewhat delayed, but they're not really going to find too much here.
Well, they have been spotted out by that ward from GAMERS2, so that early knowledge playing dividends. Now, Ku and Rocket Jump over the wall, so we went for that one first. Voidal should be able to pick this one up, and that will also be Cabachard on the blue buff from that side. Rydell has actually moved over there and plonked a ward over the wall, so he's seen Cabachard, and he was able to pick that one up. So that was actually a very intelligent play, knowing that he's going to be 1 versus 2. He's got the blue buff, he'll go back to base, and he's got the level 2 already.
Now, one thing you can see is GAMERS2 do not want the 1v2 situation. Sorry, GAMERS2 don't want the 1v2 situation. They don't want Nidalee under a lot of threat in that lane. Also, they want the Corki against the Tristana. But they're late to the lane, as you'd expect. 7-8 CS already on Tristana because Yuki was running across. Now, that leaves them in a tough situation for a couple of waves here before they can equalize the experience between the two.
And this might be the ripple effect that Ninjas in Pyjamas are looking for. Not only do they have the CS advantage in the top lane because GAMERS2 took the hit, bit the bullet, and went to top lane with that duo lane. In the jungle, they've lost 1 big buff, so Morden's going to be behind. So all over the board, though it may not look like it from the scoreboards, there's a 500 gold lead, and because of that, or rather there's no kills and there's a 500 gold lead just because of the early plays by Ninjas in Pyjamas.
Yeah, indeed. They've got to be a little bit careful here. You can see that Ku is looking to get up into the top lane here. A brief stop at the race, but Ocelot is getting harassed down a lot in this early game, and that's typical of a lane against Fizz. Early game against a ranged champion, it's pretty difficult to actually compete here, so look for Ocelot to engage around level 4.
And Ku is heading around the side. Ocelot has already used his playful Trickster. Let's just not connect the charm, and Ku therefore will not go for the gank. Morden over the wall is sitting at the Wraiths, and will not be looking for a gank in the next few moments. Alex Itch always looking at Fizz and being like, he could go in at any time. Oh, in the top lane though, do you see some trade back and forth? That's all it really is, trade and poking.
Yeah, the flayback, just a great little tool against Leona. So level 4 is important on Fizz typically. Let me double check that Ocelot. Yes, he is in fact doing it. So typically on a Fizz matchup against a ranged champion, you take a 2nd point into Playful Trickster at level 4. It gives you an extra 50 base damage plus AP ratio, which means when you land on your target, you do an insane amount more damage than the rank 1. Add to that the extra tick that Fizz is going to add, plus an ignite, means that between that and the rest of his kit, you typically end up killing your target if you've done some harass before. However, Alex is very healthy, and I don't really expect it to land.
Yeah, and Playful Trickster is also the ability to max first on Fizz.
Yeah.
He'll be maxing it out.
Yes, some melee matchups you do take extra points in the W, because you get on average more attacks and you get more damage over time than the 2nd point in Playful Trickster. It's a very tricky little situation that you used to see pretty much predominantly in the Fizz Gragas matchup.
So adding points into the Seascone Trident might be something that Ocelot decides to do, but has now put 3 points into Playful Trickster, so might go along the conventional route. So Alex Inch Just farming out has a slight advantage, but Ocelot has done a very good job of keeping up in the farm and has burnt through a couple health pots, but of course he went with the flask, so he's in good shape. Rydal knocks back Voidal. The death sentence so close to landing onto Leona, and Yuki will return with some auto attacks. So we've seen a lot of poke, a lot of aggressive plays, but no casualties.
Yeah, no casualties as of yet, but junglers are moving around the map looking to get into the lanes. Both are quite mobile though, so they're going to struggle here.
Indeed, in the bot lane, no Cabochard has caught out Jay while the Arcane Smash knocks him backwards. First blood will be going to the tree.
Yeah, they waited that one out. Cabochard Twisted Advance now no longer has the casting wind up, so it's a faster ability to get into lane and very difficult to get out of once you are in fact locked down.
So Morden in the mid lane, waiting in the wings. Level 4, that would be Spirit Rush being used. The E comes down. Alexis has one more charge, will be dropped before he can use it. Ocelot claims that kill in the mid lane. Q arrives though, Q to the face, will knock him down. Morden will follow suit. No, it's just going to be receiving a kick to the jaw.
Yeah, Q gets into lane, knew he could pick up another kill there, so really nicely timed out by Q, stamping his authority on the game already, saying, hey, you got a kill, let me even that up for you. So it's, you know, a situation where Q in the jungle.
Oh, Morden does get the smite and jumps back onto him with the Unseen Predator. Jumps over the wall with the ward jump as well. There's also a funny interaction, but Q has that level 6. Morden does not. The Sonic Wave does not land, meaning he won't go in. But when they were both in the mid lane, Q was like, Q, and then jumped to Morden's Wraith. And he was like, you can't do that in front of me, and then comes back into his Wraith as well. That just shows how aggressive and how comfortable Q is currently in the jungle.
I wonder if Morden saw the ward go in the bush. I didn't quite catch when it was placed, but that's actually quite a significant thing in that engage, because Morden would want to fall back to the bush to get the jump reset and make sure he was that little bit more mobile and catch Q off guard. I'm guessing he did see it, but there's an engage in top.
Yeah, Voidal did land the Xanath Blade into the Shield of Daybreak. It doesn't. Oh, the hook onto Freeze will be taking a Phosphorus Bomb, forced to jump out. That evens up that trade massively in the favor of GAMERS2 with their Giro lane. And they'll go back to farming.
Good eyesight by Rydal there.
Yeah.
There was a massive minions ahead of him, but he could clearly see they were mostly his own, and there was a nice little gap through the enemy minions, so good hook.
So, mid lane, Ocelot returns after picking up that kill. Charm very close to landing, but Ocelot will be farming underneath his turret for now. Morden, he has the level 6, so where's his first gank going to go? Well, onto red buff first. But Ku moving over the wall, did get the ward jump, has found himself Morden, who will be winning out in this trade. It's a 1 versus 1. Lands the Q, looking for the execute, jumps over the wall, onto the golems as well. And Ku will pick up that kill. Morden following, not Morden, he just died. JWoww following after. Alexis will be dropped in the mid lane and pick up Ocelot now. Q comes in, lands the Q, gets to the minion. So JWoww roamed up, but that just allowed Cabochard to push in the minions to his turret.
Yeah, indeed. And I thought Q may have been in a little bit of trouble because Nidalee was hot on his heels, as you said. But the assist goes over to Golems there. And that's just Q. Knowing his limits, which was actually what I was going to... The phrase I was going to say, because he kicked Morden over the wall into Golems to aggro the Golems, and then ends up picking up the kill.
Oh, Cabochard dropping low, and JWoww moves forwards. That was the end to the line for Cabochard, and he will be falling.
Yeah, one final slam to the ground with the arcane smash just to kind of exit this world. But JWoww is feeling pretty confident, but the thing is here. Oh.
Hello, Alex. How's it going? There's a ward. Oh, jumping over the wall. Fox fires. And the auto attack will finish off JWoww. Oh, in the top lane, Orion will get exploded by Freeze and Voidal. So NIP all over the board, picking up kills left, right, and center. Yeah,
it's going from bad to worse for GAMERS2. Every time they seem to trade, it just goes back in favor of NIP. It seems for every 1 kill they pick up, NIP are just picking up 2. And that's not the maths right, because it's 3, but that's what's happened in the last 2 engagements.
So, Freeze farming out his top lane. We go for the explosive shot, so we'll be able to push this towards his tower very quickly. And 2,000 gold advantage, literally only from kills and farm and buffs. And they've maintained that lead that they had from the very start of the game. At level 1, they had that 500 gold advantage, and they've only really expanded it since then. Cabochard takes a trip back from bot lane to help out in the mid lane. be pushing that towards the tower just as it was pushed up. And is Dragon now on the card for Ninjas in Pyjamas?
Yeah, he just wanted to join the girl band with Ari.
What was he playing?
Some kind of instrument like a clarinet.
Some kind of instrument.
Like a clarinet.
Okay,
Something
I can see it.
The woodwind section. I'll leave.
There's the door.
I wasn't sure whether you'd pick up on that, and apparently you didn't, so I'll have to explain it.
Okay. So Dragon went down to Ninjas in Pyjamas. Cavichard now thrown up to the top lane, so they will get that 1 versus 2 that they were looking for. And now that they have the dual lane in the bot lane, there's actually no one there. So they'll just be quite happy to free bomb and maybe just push the turret. Ku is also there, and that's a free turret. I'll take that.
It is, and they're going to be careful they don't answer with some kind of push on Ari in the middle lane, maybe picking up a kill, because Morden is around there. There's the stealth.
He has the ultimate available, jumps in, gets the bowler down, but he gets exploded by AlexSiege. Ocelot doesn't even get in range. The Lantern came across, and his eye is already dead. There's this last charge on the Spirit Rush onto Ocelot, and he will be ticking down from that red buff. Voidal comes in from the side onto Rydal, knocks him back. Nice mechanics from Rydal will keep him in place. Auto attacks coming out from Ku, drags him into the turret. Ocelot should manage to get out the burst, kicks him away. There's the ultimate coming through. The Chum the Waters now heading off to the side into the jaws of AlexSiege. Freeze jumps over the wall as well. Now with the teleport coming in, Buster Shot picks up the kill, gets the reset onto his rocket jump and jumps away. So a 1-for-1 overall.
Rydal's plays have been on point. Made sure he held Freeze under the tower for another tower shot that meant Freeze really didn't want to commit to further kills. And just back to back there, Ku went over aggressive, couldn't get out. They didn't really get too much from it. And, GAMERS2 will be a little bit happy with that, but they are still behind here. They still need to get another couple of kills and a couple of turrets under their,
whatever they're wearing.
Yeah, whatever
around
they're
their belt area. Cavichard, top lane, Arcane Smash. Sounds like Hulk Smash. And has gone for the Rod of Ages. That's typically what we see first from Maokai. I think every top lane Maokai we've seen have just gone Rod of Ages first, and then they can deviate from the norm from there, but it's typically tank items from here on out. Yep,
it's just so good working with, all of his kit. Gives him the AP scaling, gives him the resistance, or the extra health, so that damage reduction works with him, and then you build the resistances afterwards. It just works really nicely for him.
So now Ku is at the dragon area. Neither of these guys actually have vision of each other, even though they are so close. Now he has vision. Ku will just wait until he walks to lane. There's no dragon, but he has just ward jumped over the wall. What are you looking for? A ward. Ooh. So early knowledge and very aggressive wards this early into the game. So maybe setting up for a dragon ahead of time, but we'll have complete control over that area. We'll be going towards those golems. Mid lane, see both of the duo laners now here, populating a new lane. How is top lane doing? So he's big, he's green, it's Maokai.
I was wondering where you're going with that. Maybe they should get a Groot skin.
That would be good.
To celebrate.
And Yuki and Rydal still there. The tower is slowly dropping. No doubt Ninjas in Pyjamas will make a smooth move to the mid lane and try and knock that one over. In the bot lane though, Ocelot disappears from the map. Morden maybe deciding to jump in here. The exclamation mark over their heads. We know a Rengar is near, but Morden decides to back off. Doesn't want to be part of that. And Sish and Ku, the tag team, will be taking down the bottom inner turret. So it's just pick objective, and they're playing it by the book.
Yeah, they really are, and that mid tower is so low that after this red buff, wouldn't be surprised to see NIP just swing up towards mid tower, take that out, and find themselves at 3 towers ahead.
And talk about pre-planning. That earlier ward from Ku meant that he knew that Rengar was nowhere near, means they can pick up the red buff as well. And the sweeper means that Mon clears absolutely every single ward away from the bottom jungle. Yuki, who's going to be getting this? Well, the smite was already used by Ku. That's the Q. Will he go for the resonating strike? Yuki will be claiming that, but they're losing the middle turret. That was a very aggressive Valkyrie. May have been caught by a charm from AlexSiege, but they're just chunking this one down, and they don't have enough members to defend it. So the middle turret went down, and they'll pick up another tower in the mid lane. So 3 towers in the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's a big snowball here that NIP have set up. They've accelerated their gold lead, now around 7,000 gold. And man, NIP are looking in such good shape. And considering, ooh, ouch. Actually, Cabochard's going in.
Cabochard goes deep underneath that turret. Gaywell will be forced to back off.
Yeah, the sapling had different ideas. It was like, nope, not going in, gonna farm.
Yeah.
I just went that confused.
That recoil. Yeah, that confused me.
I was like,
are we going to break? What happened? What happened? Cabochard, Arcane Slash comes forwards. Voidal mopping up the minions as well. 5 turrets to Ninjas in Pyjamas before 20 minutes. 16 minutes into the game, and they have utter dominance over this game. They have the map control, they have the kill control, they have everything on their wish list.
Yeah, maybe this will be the first one the GAMERS2 get, but that minion wave is already dying pretty quickly, and Ari is going to arrive, so they're not actually going to dent that turret too much here. So, GAMERS2 are looking like they're just content to lose objectives right now. They're not exactly doing anything about it.
And this harkens back to the game we saw earlier today, where Unicorns of Love, they had a strong early game, and then they just fell behind. And they waited it out, they didn't do anything aggressive, they didn't do anything proactive, they picked up one mistake from Reason, but then Reason were like, oh, we're not going to make a mistake again then, we'll just play it safe, we'll slow the game down, and then they won out the game. So GAMERS2, if they've learned anything from the previous games, is that they can't just lie down and do nothing. So proactively, they will take up the top turret, but again, it's just a drop in the ocean. It's some way back up the hill, but they've got a long way to go.
Freeze has himself that Infinity Edge and the Zeal. He's got to be careful. Ooh, Cabochard does as well.
He's under attack. He does have the Chain Vest, so mitigating a lot of that damage from Yuki. In the background, Ku did manage to take the dragon by himself. Littered with pink wards down there, in fact. Voidal coming up, will take some down from Jaywell. Jumps after, gets the leap and the swipe. Jumps back in with the Solar Flare coming down. Can they get in range? Cabochard may have almost been taken for a ride off the Fresh Express. Cabochard getting chunked down, will be taken out by Yuki. Alexis now comes in, lands the Spirit Rush, and the Waters does not connect onto a target. 5 men from GAMERS2 rotate to the top lane, get themselves a pick and back off.
You can see the ping went down on Freeze, though. They do not want to engage into Freeze just because they don't want to give him any more kills. He's already at 2-0, and that fight right there, Cabochard moved in, the bush was warded. He didn't have Vengeful Maelstrom available, was still down from him using it earlier. So he didn't have that damage reduction. There was no way of him staying alive.
9-4 currently with a 8,000 gold advantage, which is mind-numbing at the moment. It's going to be difficult for GAMERS2 to come back into this one. This, however, is a best of 3. We are currently in the semi-finals of the FACEIT Challenger Invitational. Winner of this best of 3 will progress into the grand finals to face Reason Gaming, who took down, well, they did take down Ninjas in Pyjamas, but they also took down Unicorns of Love earlier today. Ku now on the aggression, lands the Q, lands the ultimate as well onto Ocelot, who's basically just trying to run away, looking for the Tempest here to slow him down onto the Cripple. And who is around the corner. Ku flashes forwards, lands the Sonic Wave and a Resonating Strike. Ward comes forward, didn't have the safeguard, however, there's the safeguard. Auto attack needs one more, but Morden is there, locks him down with the bowler. Cabochard now comes into the fight. They pick up Ku. Cabochard can't quite get in range. Meanwhile, Alex Itch dropped down. Freeze was also almost another death. But 2 members flashing up red from GAMERS2, but more importantly, they picked up 2 kills.
You could see Ku opened with the kick just to make it a little bit more difficult for Ocelot to actually get away, but, I mean, 1v1ing a Fizz isn't exactly the easiest thing to do when Fizz has a couple of kills under his belt.
Yeah, 3 and 4 right now has the Lich Bane, and picking up the middle turret as well in tandem with Jaywell. More than over the wall and saying, well, you punished me all the early game, Ku, now I'm going to take your jungle in return. Has opted towards the Wriggles Lantern, so going along the Feral Flare route and picking up a Spectre's Cowl on top of that. In fact, a plethora of different items picked up by everyone over the board. Ari did indeed go for that Death by Grass build, along with the Fiends and Holy Grail as well. And bot lane, 2-0-0 Tristana with the Infinity Edge.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of different builds out of Rengar. Sometimes you'll see the Elder Lizard build, which just is a little bit more consistent damage. Ooh, they're fighting over.
And Voidal lands the Zenith Blade into the Shield of Daybreak. Freeze comes over, lands an auto attack onto Ocelot, but that's all they're getting for now. That will be the blue wolf heading over to Alex Itch.
For a second then, yeah, I was going to say. For a second I thought that was a steal away.
Oh,
but
he
Alex
stole it away from his team. Wrecked.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, dear.
Card. Hello. Teleported in onto the ward, onto Baron. And with a Vengeful Maelstrom coming up, reducing that damage as well. This is dropping very quickly. Ocelot is the only member here from GAMERS2 to contest this objective. Ninjas in Pyjamas will very easily run away with this one if Alex is just zoning him away. Can he pick up the kill onto Ocelot as well? Didn't jump away. Oh, Deathfire Grasp will follow him through the Lantern from Rydell. 10-6 currently. Ninjas in Pyjamas sporting the Baron buff. And they are just all over this game.
Yeah, they did, however, think that they have to defend against JWoww, so somebody has to go and, make sure they're in that lane. It's going to be Cabochard by the looks of it. The first tower already down. The thing is, I don't know whether they want Cabochard to 1v1 JWoww because of just how strong Cabochard is as a presence in teamfights.
Very possible. He's pretty tanky at this stage and has itemized towards an AD Nidalee, so it's very possible. Has picked up the Warden's Mail now on top of the Glacial Shroud. And 2 Doran's Rings from earlier will just supplement his build. Cabochard now switches up to the bottom lane, so that's where Nidalee was last. So very possible your Fury will ring through your stress.
Very possible. We'll have to see. But
okay, so where are we currently in this game? Let's take stock of the situation. 5 towers to 3. So GAMERS2 have caught up in towers, haven't equalized just yet. 7,000 gold advantage has slowly increased, but proportionally isn't quite as bad as it was earlier into the game. In kills, 10-6, and the Baron buff means that GAMERS2 are just going to play very, very slowly for the next couple of minutes. But that has been kind of the story for the last couple of minutes. GAMERS2, even without Ninjas in Pyjamas having the Baron buff, weren't really actively looking for fights. They weren't looking to be proactive about their game.
No, they haven't got Freeze up to his max attack range yet. Still a little way off that. So sieging towers is going to be a little bit difficult because you can see how close Freeze has to sit. There's a lot of harass going around it.
Oh, GAMERS2 being very, very defensive. Ku connects the Sonic Wave if he wanted to go in. And Cabochard is actually very tanky, looking to just land an extra auto attack here and there. But you saw how defensive GAMERS2 were when they just came in with the tide of minions. They just sat behind the turret and didn't even do anything.
Yeah, I'm honestly not too sure why Cabochard just took half himself there, but they have the Baron buff, so it will regen up.
It will, and because of all the skills being used currently, just needs to land those auto attacks and get all that HP back with Sap Magic, his passive. And the Voidling goes, ah, and runs out Rydell.
No fear on Saplings.
No.
They see a target and they go for it. Unaffected
they go
by
ham.
turrets.
They go in regardless.
They're too small to be affected by turrets.
Rydell's been tanking off all these saplings.
Thanks, man. I'm glad we now know what they say.
I'm in fact the voice actor. Confirmed.
There you have it.
Arcane Smash comes out, clears the minions, chipping away at this turret continuously. Voil with posturing very aggressively. Only needs a couple more auto attack. They may take it on this push. Vengeful Maelstrom comes up. Cabochard drops very low. Will be flashing up red. Alexich as well. Have the face of the mountain on him. And that explodes. And they did manage to repel the push for now. Ocelot takes another sapling. Oh, Morden is stealthed up, however, so will assassinate that minion. With a very unlucky minion. 24 minutes in, and that tower is so low to dropping.
It is. It will regen, though, if they don't end up picking it up pretty quickly. And you have to think that they're going to want to take it while they've still got their Baron buff available, so that in a siege situation like that, they have the regen. They may even just go for it again, because they're going to see Freeze go for the top lane. They can just run down mid lane here and just tap that turret, and down it goes. Yeah,
Ninjas in Pyjamas just eroding those turrets now from GAMERS2. Over time, they will eventually pick them up. Freeze trying to get in range. 2 more auto attacks should be ample. Make that 3. And they pick up that middle turret. Now moving on to the inhibitor. Is there anyone there to contest it? Yes, there is. The rest of the lineup from GAMERS2 is here, ready and waiting. Ku may be the one to have to make a play, if anyone's going to do it, from Ninjas in Pyjamas to go any further. In fact, Freeze, look at that range. Just an auto attack here and there, going left and right, dodging through the missile barrage from Yuki. And it's slowly going down, and GAMERS2 have to do something about this.
I actually am getting... Ooh, hook.
The hook lands.
I'm not getting
win. And they are indeed. Arcane Smash throws back Ocelot. We'll get the Lantern, and there's the inhibitor. Ooh, just honestly a whimper from GAMERS2. They say, okay, take our inhibitor.
Can we call this like the Guardians of the Galaxy composition? It's like you've got Cabochard protecting Tristana.
Ah.
Yeah. It's like
there's a Yordle, not a...
It's close enough.
Look.
I mean, maybe if it was Rumble, it would be...
Oh yeah, that'd be pretty close. Or Teemo. I don't really know what Teemo is.
Look, we're not going to get much closer, because when was the last time you saw Rumble or Teemo in a competitive game?
That's true. Rumble is a different story. Cabochard, however, is in the top lane.
That defeat. You can just hear the defeat in your voice.
Can you hear it? JWoww. Sitting on the Trinity Force and more of Mount Morpheus. 2-2-1 so far in this game. He's actually ahead in farm, but considering the game state, doesn't really matter too much. And has not become a split-pushing threat that he really, or his team wanted him to be. Cabochard has done a very good job of just shutting him down. There's the Frozen Heart coming out, has picked up the Negatron Cloak as well.
Yeah, so just want to survive through some of that damage that's getting put out. But, I mean, to be honest, there's so much damage on both sides right now that damage reduction is going to be a massive part. And don't forget, it's not only damage reduction. Once you've soaked up enough damage, it will actually output damage when it, explodes. Ooh, nice hook onto Alex.
Death Sentence connects onto the nine-tailed fox. There's the teleport onto the minion that's tanking the turret. Buys a couple seconds of Freeze waiting away against this inhibitor turret. Will they go for the engage? Q jumps in. The ventral maelstrom out from Cabochard. Mitigates some of that damage. Heading towards them, the spears. The auto attacks, all courtesy of JWoww and Yuki. And they have taken the turret down to about 40% HP. Ninjas in Pyjamas surely going to take this on the next push. Says the sapling. I can just imagine that being a children's book. Oh, Q lands the Q. Death Sentence onto another minion. Cabochard on the front lines, allowing Freeze free reign over this turret. And the grasping the E onto it, the twisted advance. The Q comes in. Will be jumping back to his team. Alex is now with the Spirit Rush is very, very deep. Yuki just puts him down, but that has bought time for his team to take down the turret 2-1. And now heading towards the inhibitor turret. But while all that was happening, super minions knocking on the front door. And no doubt they should be able to pick up this inhibitor without much of a fight. Morden now comes in with the ultimate. Can he get onto Q or Cabochard? They know he's around the area. He doesn't choose to go in, however. And Freezer's shredding down the health bar of Ocelot. Now moves back onto the inhibitor. They have to turn their attention to the mid lane push. Both of their Nexus turrets have fallen just from minions. Voidal jumps in, lands the Q. Will be stunning up his target. Ocelot jumps in and will be assassinating Q, ticking down from the Seastone Trident. And now Voidal will be meeting the same fate and executed by Ryder, but the minions are still there. This is a juggling act from GAMERS2, and I think they've just at least weathered the storm for now.
Yeah, they have for now, but the thing about that whole fight was GAMERS2 are only in this game because Ocelot was continually trying to pressure Freeze. Every time Freeze stepped forward, Ocelot would follow, and he tried desperately to get in onto Freeze, but you could just see Freeze did not want that fight whatsoever. He is much more content to just sit back and make sure that they play it out carefully, because we've seen NIP overextend before and it hasn't ended well for them, but this time they're much more in control.
GAMERS2 push out of their base. I don't really know if they want to go too far out, but Baron has spawned, and that's maybe what they're looking to contest, because they know another Baron going to Ninjas in Pyjamas will just be one more nail in the coffin, and they can't afford too many more. They're already fatally wounded as it is.
Yes, indeed. Now, while they see bottom lane, they may find their opportunity here. This is a pretty good time. They've got Lichbane, they have Tristana as well. But do they have the time? That's the question.
Well, the twisted advance onto JWoww. The rest of the burst comes in from behind that one pick. Maybe enough just to straight up secure them this game. The inhibitor will be falling the second one. That's an exposed Nexus now after they take this one out. Cabochard leading the charge, and I'm not even sure if they can do anything to contest this. Was dragged onto the spawn pad, will be taken out, but meanwhile your Nexus is dead. Ninjas in Pyjamas come home with the victory in this first game of this best of 3 in the second semi-finals of the Challenger FACEIT Invitational here live from London. And wow, what a first game of that series.
Yeah, that was a pretty explosive first game, and you know, NIP felt like they had something to prove there. Last time we saw them, although I think they won their subsequent game against Alternate. They didn't look amazing against Unicorns of Love, and that looked a lot more like the Ninjas in Pyjamas that we're used to.
It is indeed. So, GAMERS2, can they come back in the second game? Of course, they won the last FACEIT Challenger Invitational, so we know they're an extremely strong team. They've beaten down the best and brightest, but can they do the same against Ninjas in Pyjamas? This is going to be an uphill struggle.
It will indeed. But while we are away for a couple of minutes getting all the players set up into the lobby, make sure you head over to FACEIT.com, get yourself signed up on the platform, and you can play some League of Legends, some Quake, some CSGO against players of your skill level. That's a really important thing, is that you won't be playing against Challenger players if you're not Challenger, but you can get placed into your ranks, league or ladder, placed pretty highly there, accrue some points, either trade them in for prizes or win some prizes for being top of your league anyway. And then, you'll get some pretty cool stuff just for playing League of Legends. Yeah,
you play the tournaments that have been set up on the site, earn some points, go into the shop, cash the points in, job's done, there's a prize. And there's absolutely no reason not to. So as we set up for the second game of the second semi-finals, head on over there, but we will be seeing you soon.